What's going on, guys? B. Scott here with you, and on today's show, we got your waiver wire heading in to week number 10. Week number 9 is almost in the books. Obviously, we got a Monday Night Football game tonight between the Pittsburgh Steelers and Chicago Bears, but we're going to be looking ahead, hopefully help bolster your rosters. If you have a great team, you probably lost here in week 9, and if you have a bad one, you probably won here in week 9. But keep it locked and loaded right here at the first 4 downs. What's going on, guys, and welcome back. As I mentioned in the preview, we're going through the waiver wire heading in to week number 10. Week number 9, the football was incredible, to say the least. If you were an actual NFL fan, just loved your team, it was exciting for you. If you love playing fantasy football, it was a huge letdown for many of you, including me. But we're going to be looking at the waiver wire heading into week number 10. Just a few guys. I don't really love the waiver wire this week, so I don't have a ton of players. But if I miss on a player or a player you want to ask a question about, drop in the comment section. And while you're there, like the video, subscribe, share, thumb bell, all the good stuff. And like I said, if you have any questions at all, drop in the comment section. I'll be glad to give you my opinion. So we're going to start at the running back position. Honestly, I don't really love any streaming quarterbacks this week at all. The quarterback position as a whole in week number 9 lets you down completely. So if you have any questions about a quarterback, drop in the comment section. But let's start at the running back position. The first guy we got to talk about, Jordan Howard. Led the backfield in carries, 17 carries for 71 yards and a touchdown. Back-to-back games, 12-plus carries. He's got a touchdown in back-to-back games. And the Philadelphia Eagles all of a sudden like to run the football without Miles Sanders. Yeah, that's pretty insane to me. And Jordan Howard has been resurrected. So Boston Scott, we thought would get the lion's share. We knew there probably would be a split, but Jordan Howard came out as the lead dog. And at this point, he's the leading running back. I don't love the matchups going forward, and I don't think the game script is going to be scripted that well for Jordan Howard, albeit they're running the football and running it effectively. They did play the Chargers, got one of the worst run defenses in the league. But Jordan Howard, you got to be picking him up at this point. And there's talks that the coach needs to be integrating him into the offense going forward. I don't know. Jordan Howard at this moment is a low-end RB2 on a weekly basis, so pick him up. Owned in only 13% of Yahoo leagues. Next guy I like to talk about, Devontae Freeman. 13 carries for 79 yards, caught the touchdown. Looks like the best running back in that backfield. And Latavius Murray, if he's there or if he even comes back, Devontae Freeman just looks like the healthier option. And it's the Baltimore Ravens. They just love to run the football. They're at the Miami Dolphins next week. That's a startable spot for Devontae Freeman. 3 straight games, 10-plus points for fantasy. So Devontae Freeman, you got to be picking him up. Brandon Bolden, this is just a mention at the running back position. Ramondre Stevenson and Damian Harris both exited that game with little nagging injuries. We'll have to wait to see later in the week. But in a tough match next week, I like Brandon Bolden as a possible option if Stevenson or Damian Harris were to miss some time here. So Brandon Bolden, obviously maybe not wavering him necessarily, but look for him to possibly be an ad later in the week based on the injuries. So we can move to some wide receivers that I like. Donovan Peoples-Jones, DPJ, that's what they call him. Only 3 targets, 2 catches, 86 yards, had the big touchdown. He's a boom or bust wide receiver 3. And really in an offense that runs play action pass, like the Cleveland Browns, know how to run the football effectively. And the curse of OBJ has been lifted. Baker Mayfield looks like Joe Montana out there. It's incredible. But Donovan Peoples-Jones, he's a guy that you got to probably be having on your rosters. He's at New England. Then he's got the Detroit Lions, then at Baltimore. A lot of defenses don't necessarily scare me. So Donovan Peoples-Jones, a boomer bust, wide receiver 3, a good flex option if you need him in a pinch, especially with bye weeks coming up. Elijah Moore looked great, and it looks like he's coming on strong. 8 targets, 7 catches, 84 yards, 2 touchdowns against Colts defense. Did a Swiss cheese in that secondary. And like I mentioned, Elijah Moore just coming on strong. 3 straight games with 6-plus targets. He's got 13 receptions over his last 2 games. And now, yes, I don't love the matchup this week against the Buffalo Bills, but Miami Dolphins, then the Houston Texans. Those are 2 beatable secondaries. So Elijah Moore, they're obviously going to be in a lot of negative game script, having to throw the football. I like him going forward as a potential, wide receiver 2-3 guy, a guy that you could flex on any given week. And then Brandon Ayuk, 8 targets, 6 catches, 89 yards, and a touchdown. 7-plus targets, back-to-back games. He's looking like the Ayuk that is coming on strong towards the back half of the season. And to be honest, the San Francisco 49ers have one of the easiest strength schedules for the wide receiver position. You got the LA Rams. Doesn't necessarily scare me. At the Jacksonville Jaguars, Minnesota, at Seattle. I mean, they got shootout games pretty much the rest of the way. We know the 49ers defense isn't that good. You saw it on Sunday. Take the loss to the Arizona Cardinals with backup Colt McCoy under center. They run all over them. So the 49ers defense has been struggling. And Brandon Ayuk's going to be needed to be leaned on. Deebo Samuel dealing with a little bit of a calf injury. George Kittle, how healthy he can stay. How can he stay throughout the rest of the season? Looked great, by the way, on Sunday. But how healthy can he be? And Brandon Ayuk, we know, is talented. So he's a guy that should be rostered in every single league at this point. Pick him back up and potentially be flexing him on a weekly basis. And then I'm going to mention Deshaun Jackson, signed with the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, yes, he's not going to see a huge target volume, and he's really going to be a boomer bust player. But we saw with Henry Ruggs, he was getting some plays and getting some work. If Deshaun Jackson could see 3 to 4 targets, 3 to 5 targets, and one of them potentially a deep touchdown, he could be a boomer bust player in an easy matchup. So I like Deshaun Jackson as a possible pickup. Don't get me wrong, he's not a guy I'm just throwing in and calling him a wide receiver 3. You got some bye weeks still to come. He's a potential guy that could fill your bye weeks and in a pinch and have that boom bust potential. So we'll move to some tight ends, a couple tight ends that I like to pick up this week. Dan Arnold being one of them. 7 targets, 4 catches for 60 yards, 30 targets over his last 4 games. He's cleared 60 yards in 3 of his last 4 games. And since joining Jacksonville, he looks like pretty much the best receiving option, or at least most consistent. Now, yes, his numbers are blowing you away. Those don't sound like great numbers, but at the tight end position, that's pretty darn good. So Dan Arnold, potentially the bottom end, 10 to 12 tight end on a weekly basis. And if he can find the end zone at any point, that's going to give him that upside. So Dan Arnold should be probably rostered. Solid play every single week. And then Logan Thomas coming off IR, if he's dropped in your league, owns right around 53% in Yahoo leagues. Ryan Fitzpatrick, if he happens to come back, especially sooner rather than later. Logan Thomas, we talked about him as being a potential top 5 tight end coming into the season through the first 3 weeks. 3 weeks. He wasn't necessarily great, but he wasn't killing you either. He was a potential solid 10 points all 3 weeks this year so that he's played. So I like him as a pickup, a guy that you got to be starting to look at rostering for that home stretch. He's got Dallas Cowboys who give up a lot of yards to the tight end position twice down the stretch. So Logan Thomas, a good tight end pickup this week. So that's it. That's my short waiver wire. To be honest, week 9 was an incredible week of football. At the end of the day, I didn't even know what to think. All of us in the industry, we put a lot of work and effort into picking and choosing the players we like, don't like, and try and justify as much as possible. I mean, there's just guys that sometimes stuff happens. Devontae Smith being one of them. I tell you to start him and he doesn't do good. I tell you to sit him and he does great in a tough matchup. James Conner. It's been tough. It was a tough week for all fantasy industry people giving that advice. 100%. So, but anyway, that's been the waiver wire. I hope you liked the video. Drop the like, thumb, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, and then comment. I didn't touch on a lot of players. If there's a player that you're thinking about wavering, picking up, drop in the comment section. I'll be glad to give you my advice. So for the first 4 downs, it's been B. Scott.